Hey, this is C&D Channel. I'm Chris. This is MMA for you. I'm going to be doing my predictions for UFC on Fox 13, Dos Santos versus Miocic, which happens on December 13th. Overall, I like this card. There's some good prospects, even on the Fight Pass prelims. Got Anthony Burchak, Henry Cejudo. On the televised prelims, you have a really good fight with Gadelha, and I don't know how to pronounce her last name. I'll just say Jedrzejczyk. I'll pronounce it because I have no idea how to pronounce that. Ben Saunders is fighting. He's always in fun fights. Got a good main card as well. 3 heavyweight fights. He's got some name value there with Dos Santos and Overeem fighting. Well, you know, Stipe's really good too. Struve's coming back. Mitrione, you know, he's a solid heavyweight. Diaz versus Dos Anjos should be really good as well. Let's get started. In the main event, we have Junior Cigano dos Santos versus Stipe Miocic. Is it Miocic or Miocic? You know, I should say Miocic from now on. Stipe Miocic, 12-1 record, 8 wins by KO TKO, he has a submission win by strikes. He's 32 years old, on a 3-fight win streak. Trains at a strong style fight team with the likes of like Jessica I trains there, among others. He's a really good wrestler, actually. Solid boxer. He uses movement. He will use combinations as well. He does strike to the body. Showed out against Stefan Struve. So, solid all-around fighter. Junior dos Santos, 16-3 record, 12 wins by KO TKO, 2 wins by sub. 30 years old, training out of now these days I believe he's training out of Nobu Uniao. He last fought on October 2013. I believe that was against Cain Velasquez. He is a former UFC heavyweight champion. He has strong offensive boxing. He uses a good jab and a good uppercut. He's really heavy-handed. Got a really strong chin. Strong takedown defense. His overall counter wrestling is good. If you take him down, he's hard to keep down. One of his biggest problems is he backs up in a straight line and puts his back against the cage. He does it all the time. That's how Cain Velasquez was able to clinch with him so easily. Even against Mark Hunt, against so many guys, he's shown that weakness. You know, him having not fought for a while is also problematic. You know, you don't really know how much has been taken out of the guy from his beating from Cain Velasquez. A fresh Junior dos Santos. I'm going to pick Junior dos Santos to win this one. But as far as my confidence in this pick, there are those X factors. The layoff, the fact that he got beaten up so bad in his last fight. Steve is also kind of a guy on the rise, you know. He's got a good win streak going on. Beat the likes of Gonzaga. Most recently beating Fabio Maldonado, but, you know, he's getting up there. You know, he beat Roy Nelson. Looking good, too. I gotta go with Cigano to win this one. I feel he's going to be the more heavy-handed striker. It's going to be hard to take down. It's tough to say, because I think Miocic is definitely that type of guy that, I know I've done it a couple times, very underestimated, you know. He's really good, but like, and he's beaten the necessary gatekeepers against Gonzaga. I think some people are down on him for his loss to Struve. And also it doesn't have that with Stipe. I believe he's a part-time fighter. I don't think he's a full-time fighter. I think he's a paramedic or something to that nature. But he's not a full-time fighter, so that may hurt him as well. At heavyweight, it's really tough to say though. Regardless, I'll go with Junior Dos Santos to win this one. I think he might arguably be the better boxer. Probably the more heavy-handed one. Probably get that overhand right going on. I don't like that he backs up in a straight line against the cage, though. I don't like the layoff. I think he might even be coming off of surgery. So, certain things I don't like there, but Junior Dos Santos for the win. Next fight after that, Nate Diaz fights Rafael Dos Anjos. Dos Anjos has a 22-7 record, 4 wins by KO or TKO, 8 wins by sub, 29 years old on a 2-fight win streak. He is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt with good Muay Thai, really heavy hands, knocked out Benson Smooth Henderson in his last fight. He's a good wrestler too, actually. He has this. He's really good at actually face shifting. He'll strike guys up until they get against the cage. He's really good at this. He does this against like every opponent. He'll strike his way until his opponent's back against the cage, and then he'll usually times it off a counter too. He'll time it so like with the back against the cage, the guy will throw a punch or something like that as a counter, duck under that, go for a takedown. He's really good at that, actually. His takedown defense has been greatly improving. I mean, the only guy that I would say able to take him down consistently was Khabib Nurmagomedov. Nurmagomedov looks like he can take down anyone, though. And his counter wrestling is good, too. If you take him down, he's hard to keep down. Nate Diaz, 17-9 record, 4 wins by KO or TKO, 11 wins by sub. He's 29 years old, training out of Cesar Gracie's. Last fought in November 2013. I think that was against Maynard, if I'm not mistaken. He's a good boxer. He has that like Stockton slap style, you know, high volume striking, always pushing forward. You know, not necessarily going for power strikes, but goes for high volume. It works because he does have a good chin. He also has strong Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu skills. Really good off his back. You know, he'll throw up triangles from his back and whatnot. He's got good cardio. His takedown defense, though, isn't the greatest. With all that said, I gotta go with Rafael Dos Anjos to win that one. I think he's a more heavy-handed striker. I think if he gets in trouble, I think he might take Diaz to the ground. I also think that Dos Anjos can utilize some leg kicks. He hasn't utilized them too much in a while, but I remember going back to his fight against, jeez, I forgot the guy's name now. I remember this one fight where he's just putting on this leg kicking clinic, though, and I totally forgot against who. So he might also utilize that against Nate Diaz as well. The Diaz brothers have noticeable weaknesses. One is their takedown defense. 2 is movement heavy fighters, and 3 is leg kicks. They're just not good against that. They have that really particular style, and I think Dos Anjos has the tools in his arsenal to defeat the Diaz style. So Rafael Dos Anjos for the win. Next fight after that, Stefan Struve fights Alistair Overeem. Stefan Struve, 25-6 record. 7 wins by KO or TKO, 16 wins by sub. That's us 5 losses by KO or TKO. He's only 26 years old. The guy is 7 foot tall. He is the tallest fighter in the UFC. He last fought in March 2013. He does have good offensive stand-up. His Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is actually really solid. He's really good off his back. He'll throw triangles from his back and whatnot. Sneaky ones too. His stand-up defense is terrible. This is a guy that gets hit with overhand rights so many times. He's just notorious. Ever since I've seen like his first fight, the guy has had notoriously bad stand-up defense. One thing is though, he's resilient. He's really game. You know, I wouldn't say he has a weak chin per se. Because he, you know, he has been knocked out clean. Travis Brown, of course. Roy Nelson knocked him out cold. Junior Dos Santos managed to knock him out as well. Some pretty heavy-hitting guys, but he's a guy, he's pretty durable. If you hit him, he still keeps coming at you. Oh, and Mark Hunt, of course, managed to knock him out as well. Alistair Overeem, 37-14 record with 1 no contest, 15 wins by KO TKO, 19 wins by sub. He also has 9 losses by KO TKO and 2 losses by submission. 34 years old. He's 6'5" compared to Struve's 7 foot. He's only won 1 of his last 4 fights. That was against Frank Mir. He got knocked out in all his other fights, if I'm not mistaken. Travis Brown knocked him out. Bigfoot Silva knocked him out. And then recently Ben Rothwell knocked him out. Right now he's training out of Jackson Winklejohn. He is a former Strikeforce heavyweight champion. He does have strong offensive kickboxing, really good knees, heavy-handed guy, and an underrated Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu game. He has a good guillotine, among other weapons, in his arsenal. His offensive wrestling is solid. His weaknesses are cardio. He notoriously does not have good cardio. He is not durable. The reason why, the difference with Struve is, he gets hit clean, but he's not he'll keep fighting. With Overeem, it's you hit him clean, and he's just done. Even in the Rothwell fight, he gets a good uppercut. He backs up against the cage, and you can tell. He gets his wits back, but he's once he got hit, he just wasn't all there, and then he got knocked out. He has a notoriously weak chin as well. This one's hard for me to call. Honestly, I'm a bit. I think Overeem can win this one. But so can Struve, because at least Struve's going to be in his face all the time. Overeem, no TRT also. And a lot of people are thinking how much that TRT has been helping Overeem. The layoff probably doesn't help Struve. Both of them are not the most defensively sound fighters in the stand-up. Which kind of surprised me with Overeem. A lot of people are saying, because in K1, you had the bigger gloves. Maybe that helped Overeem. Whereas that doesn't help him in MMA. Could be. But yeah, it's a tough one for me to call. It just, man, when Overeem lost to Rothwell in that last fight, you know that this guy, any chance of a title shot for him are pretty much gone at this point. His chin isn't as good as it used to be. Man, I'm kind of. It depends if Overeem lands that really good shot on Stefan Struve. Honestly, that's really one of the only ways I see him beating Struve, unless he goes for a takedown heavy game plan. Not out of the question. But I don't know. I think Struve would at least be better in the later rounds than Overeem. Man, now I'm having a hard time picking this one. You know what? I originally was going to go with Overeem. I'm going to go with Struve here, man. Oh, man. He does have the heart problem. His defense really sucks. Really sucks. But man, there's so much wrong with Overeem. And while I see avenues for Overeem to win, I see too many weaknesses in the guy to confidently pick him. His cardio, let's just say he does the takedown heavy style. What happens in the third round? His cardio is not that great. Maybe he goes for more takedowns. I don't know. Maybe Struve at least is good off his back. At least he'll go for the triangles and whatnot. I don't know if Overeem can just hold him down. And a stand-up on a technical level, Overeem wins. The problem is it almost doesn't matter because his chin is just so bad, and he always finds a way of getting hit clean. You know, I mean, that's just the thing. And at the very least, even Struve brawls with Overeem. Just to say he just goes brawls with him, I think he'll connect with some punches there. Yeah, man. I mean, obviously part of my change in pick is how down I am on Overeem these days. I mean, it's hard to deny a guy 14 losses. 9 of them are by KO or TKO, and 3 of them are in his last 4 fights. It's hard to look past that, you know, at heavyweight. At the very least, with Struve, not the biggest knockout threat per se, but I've seen him knock dudes out. And at this point, with Overeem's chins don't get better. I'm gonna go with Stefan Struve to win this one, man. I'm just too many factors in this fight, you know, don't make me want to pick Overeem. I'm lacking so much confidence now in Overeem. And at least with Struve, he's solid enough of a fighter. He does have a lot of weaknesses of his own that scare me as well. But I think they're more than Overeem. So Stefan Struve for the win here, man. That's how down I am on Overeem these days. I was actually going to pick him to win. Like before, after saying it out loud, I'm just like, wow, how am I picking this guy to win? I mean, confidently. Like, lack of durability, lack of cardio. You know, I mean, it's just not there, you know. With Struve, I can say weak stand-up defense, questionable chin, as, you know, 5 of his 6 losses are by KO or TKO. But, so both these guys are very hittable. They're very knockoutable as well. That's not really a word, but I gotta go Stefan Struve here, man. It's just, that's how down I am on Overeem these days. Next fight, I thought Gabriel Gonzaga fights Matt Mitrione. Mitrione, 8-3 record, 7 wins by KO or TKO, 1 win by decision. 36 years old. He's on a 2-fight win streak. Training out of the Black Zillions. Solid kickboxer. Really good kicks. Heavy-handed guy. Moves well for his size. Takedown defense needs some work, and I'm still a bit iffy on his overall ground game. I don't think it's that strong from what I've seen. Gabriel Gonzaga, 16-8 record, 7 wins by KO or TKO, 9 wins by sub. He also has 6 losses by KO or TKO. He's 35 years old, training out of Team Link. He is a finisher, a legit Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. Stand-up's actually solid. He's heavy-handed. You know, he's not the quickest guy though. So wrestling's actually not too bad. His cardio's not that good, and his chin's not that good either. As far as well-roundedness, Gonzaga's, in my opinion, the more well-rounded fighter. However, I think Mitrione's a better athlete of the two. I also think he's the better striker of the two, moves well, whereas Gonzaga is more of a plotter. So this one's hard for me to call because I actually kind of want to consider this. Even though Gonzaga has been keeping the fight on the feet, he has actually been trying to take fights to the ground lately when he can, when he's needed to as well. And once he gets to the ground, you know, he's really good there. Tough one for me to call because I still consider this a striker versus grappler matchup. Gonzaga has been a bit better as of late of not just falling in love with his hands. He kind of has been going, like, he'll mix in, he'll stand with his opponents, but he'll also take the fight to the ground when need be. Submitted the likes of Ben Rothwell by guillotine not that long ago. I mean, there's guys like Stipe and Miocic who beat him, but I I don't think Gonzaga would have been able to take him down anyways, because he's a good wrestler. Managed to knock out Sean Jordan, Dave Herman. He's just superior in the stand-up there. I kind of see Gonzaga trying to take the fight to the ground, though. I think he might be able to. Might even be able to take the back and get the choke. He's actually really good at doing that. And yeah, I'm gonna go Gabriel Gonzaga for the win there. But Matt Mitrione, I think, has the much better stand-up, heavy-handed guy himself, and is the better athlete. Moves better on his feet as well. So still a tough one for me to call, because Mitrione is a solid fighter, but I gotta go with Gonzaga. Besides being able to finish fights on the feet, he is also legitimately good on the ground as well. Okay, on to the prelims. John Moraga fights whoop-ass Willie Gates. Well, Willie Gates, 11-4 record, 4 wins by KO TKO, 4 wins by sub. He has 2 losses by submission on a 5-fight win streak. He is tall for a flyweight. He is 5'10". It will be his first fight in the UFC, and he is taking the fight on short notice. So I watched this fight against Hector Sandoval. He uses kicks. He in particularly likes the front kick to the face a lot. His knees from the clinch are really strong. And when he did get taken down, he really scrambles back to his feet. He kind of explodes back to his feet. So he's looked like a good scrambler as well. Moraga, 15-3 record, 2 wins by KO TKO, 7 wins by sub, 30 years old. So far he's trading wins and losses right now. I think he's coming off a win now. I think it was against Scoggins. So, by that measure, he should be coming off a loss, but not this time. Trains at the Arizona Combat Sports MMA Lab with the likes of John Tuck, Benson Henderson, and Bruce Leroy. He has good stand-up. He's actually pretty heavy-handed for the weight class. His wrestling's actually pretty solid, and his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is actually not too bad. Does rely on that guillotine a little too much, which is a bit problematic. Nonetheless, I think the experience, Moraga's one of those guys. I remember I was reading, he's kind of like, a lot of people compared him to like Ricardo Lamas, where he's not like a specialist anywhere, but he's good everywhere. But he's also manages to win when you least expect it. Like, he actually has some solid wins. Like that Justin Scoggins win, like surprisingly solid, you know, because he's beating like dynamic fighters. Like, you know, he beat Scoggins by guillotine, and that was like a pretty solid win. And then he also, even though I thought he should have lost the fight, he also has a win over Dustin Ortiz. He's a pretty solid wrestler and grappler himself. So he actually has some pretty big wins, surprisingly, for a guy whose skill set is, he's not just, there's nothing that I would say is great about any one area of his game, but he's very good if not very good in most, if not all aspects of MMA. And he finds ways to win. I gotta go with Moraga to win this one. Probably the better wrestler than Gates. The stand-up should be interesting though, because Gates, like I said, he uses a lot of kicks for range. He'll go for some pretty, he has some pretty good knees, especially from the clinch as well. So, I mean, he's a solid fighter actually. But, gotta go with Moraga, more experience, arguably more well-rounded as well. Next fight after that, Claudia Gadelha fights Joanna Jedrzejczyk. I say Jedrzejczyk because I don't know how to pronounce that last name. Yeah. So Joanna has a 7-0 undefeated record, 2 wins by KO TKO, 1 win by sub. She's 27 years old. She's a strong kickboxer. Really good overhand right, actually, but she does use combinations well. Against Juliana Lima, she's beat her up on the feet. Her takedown defense is actually pretty solid. Juliana Lima could not take her down. If you also saw Joanna's fight against Rosie Sexton, man, she just wrecked her. Just utterly wrecked her. Gadelha, 12-0 undefeated record, 2 wins by KO TKO, 6 wins by sub, 25 years old, training out of Nova União. She is big for 115. She's a legit Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt with good wrestling, good takedown defense, very typical of Nova União, actually. And her stand-up's improving as well. She uses the left hook pretty well. This one's actually a really tough one for me to call because there is the possibility of Joanna just beating up Gadelha on the feet and defending the takedowns. She actually does have, a pretty good skill set in order to do, and could potentially do that. However, I'm gonna go with Gadelha to win this one. I think she's a better wrestler than Juliana Lima, first of all. Might be able to take it to should be able to take the fight to the ground. And once it's there, especially if she can take the back, for example, she's really strong there. Or get a dominant position. She's really strong there. Her stand-up, like I said, I'll go with Joanna's stand-up over Gadelha's, but Gadelha doesn't have bad stand-up by any stretch of the imagination as well. Joanna's is better though. So Claudia Gadelha for the win there. Should be a good fight. Wouldn't surprise me if Joanna wins though. Next right after that, Joe Riggs fights Ben Saunders. Joe Riggs, 40-14 record with 1 no contest, 20 wins by KO TKO, 16 wins by sub. He also has 5 losses by KO TKO and 7 losses by sub. 32 years old on a 6-fight win streak. Training at the MMA lab these days. He is a veteran. He's actually got some good wrestling, solid Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu skills. Stand-ups, it's good, you know. It's not like great, but it's good. He's been around the block for sure. Ben Saunders, 17-6 record with 2 draws, 8 wins by KO TKO, 6 wins by sub. He also has 3 losses by KO TKO. 2 of them are by Douglas Lima. The other one's from Mike Swick. He's 31 years old. He's pretty tall for the weight class. He's 6'3". Training out of ATT Orlando. He has a good Muay Thai. Really strong clinch knees. That's his money right there, man. When he gets into clinch and starts raining down those knees, or getting those knees, they are fight ending. He has some strong Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He's good off his back. He'll use his rubber guard. He actually beat Chris Heatherly by omoplata in his last fight. He uses the rubber guard, and he'll transition to triangles from that rubber guard, and or go to the omoplata from there a lot of times. Actually, that's actually one of his go-to things on the ground. However, his takedown defense is not very good. With that said, I gotta go with Killer B, Ben Saunders, for the win here. I think he might be able to beat Riggs on the feet. On the ground, like I said, the guy is really good from his back. It's almost to a point with Saunders where he can get controlled, but you have to really mind your P's and Q's if you want to take Saunders to the ground. He will always be on the attack when he's on his back. Ben Saunders for the win there. Next right after that, Drew Dober fights Jamie Varner. Jamie Varner, 21-10 record with 1 draw and 2 no contests, 7 wins by KO TKO, 11 wins by sub. He also has 2 losses by KO TKO and 4 losses by sub. 29 years old on a 3-fight losing streak. He's actually only won 1 of his last 5 fights. Granted, He's had a tough schedule, man. I mean, that one win, I think, is against Mom Gallard. And then he's fought, he beat Edson Barboza when he came into the UFC. So it should be 2 of his last 6. But then he fought, like, Abel Trujillo. I mean, just Gleison Tebow. A lot of, like, really good guys, too. I forgot who else. Joe Lozon, which was, like, a Fight of the Year candidate. He wasn't fighting easy guys or anything like that. He was fighting like solid mid-level or higher type guys. Trains out of Arizona Combat Sports and the MMA Lab. He is a former WEC lightweight champion. He's a good wrestler and he has solid boxing as well. Drew Dober, 14-6 record, 2 wins by KO TKO, 8 wins by sub. 26 years old on a 2-fight losing streak. Was recently losing to Nick Hine, if I'm not mistaken. He has some solid stand-up and good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu skills. It's interesting with Dober. He's actually, even though he has more wins by submission, it's usually because he like knocks his opponent down and then submits him. He's actually more of a stand-up fighter than anything else. Nonetheless, I think this is finally the one like gimme fight for like. Not gimme. I mean, you know, Dober's actually not too bad, but it's one of the more winnable fights for Jamie Varner. I think he's the more experienced fighter, arguably the better boxer, probably the better wrestler. Jamie Varner for the win here. Next fight, I thought Derek Brunson fights Ed Herman. Ed Herman, 22-10 record with 1 no contest, 5 wins by KO or TKO, 13 wins by sub, also 6 losses by submission, 34 years old. He's got some solid Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu skills. His stand-up's average, and he's a good wrestler. He's actually got a good chin, too. He's a guy that, I don't know if he's ever been knocked out, to be honest with you. He's really resilient though. He's and very game. Just a guy that's always in the fight. He's gonna fight Derek Brunson, who has a 12-3 record, 4 wins by KO or TKO, 4 wins by sub. Also has 2 losses by KO or TKO. 30 years old, training out of Jackson Winklejohn. He has some really good wrestling, strong top control. Stand-up's actually improving. He actually has some good kicks in his stand-up. But the bread and butter of Brunson's game is usually his wrestling and his control. He's definitely not the most fun fighter all the time. He's been performing well as of late. He has that win over Lawrence Larkin in his last fight. Kind of lame. Kind of just wrestling and controlled him though. Beat Levin with wrestling and control. Had a really good fight against Yoel Romero where he was, I think in most scorecards, was winning until he got knocked out in that 3rd round. Nonetheless, I'm going to go Derek Brunson for the win here. I think he's the superior wrestler. I think he'll be able to take the fight to the ground and control Ed Herman. Ed Herman's tough. That's the thing with tough and rugged. So it's definitely, Brunson's definitely gonna have to work for all. If it goes 15 minutes, he's probably gonna have to work all 15 minutes. Next fight after that, Bryan Barberena fights Joe Ellenberger. Joe Ellenberger has a 15-1 record, 8 wins by KO or TKO, 4 wins by sub. 29 years old on a 3-fight win streak. He trains at a premier combat center with the likes of Dakota Cochran. He's a good wrestler. Stand-up's pretty average though. Bryan Barberena, 9-2 record, 7 wins by KO or TKO, 1 win by sub. He's on a 6-fight win streak. Trains at an MMA lab. It'll be his first fight in the UFC. So I saw this fight against Dane Sayers. This was back in 2012. So I don't have the most recent evidence to use for my analysis, but from what I see in the Sayers fight, he's good. He's really a guy that looks for the clinch. His knees from the clinch are good. I liked his elbows too. I didn't like his stand-up at all. It's sloppy. His hands are down. He kind of just uses like a lot of single kicks. Like he'll just like go up, throw a kick, you know, and it's no setup with the kick a lot of times. Just I wasn't terribly impressed with his stand-up in that fight. Maybe it's improved. I don't know. The other thing is, if he's just going for the clinch, I think that kind of helps Joe Ellenberger, to be honest with you, get the takedown. I'm going to go Joe Ellenberger to win this one. I don't think he should have won his last fight against James Montazeri. I thought Montazeri should have got the win there, to be honest with you. But I think Ellenberger has at least the wrestling to take Barberena down, possibly keep him there. And the stand-up, you know, like I said, I wasn't that impressed with Barberena. I'm not terribly impressed with Ellenberger's stand-up. I would actually kind of call it close to even. Joe Ellenberger for the win there. Okay, on the Fight Pass prelims, I got David Michaud. There's David Michaud versus Garett Whiteley. David Michaud, 7-1 record, 3 wins by KO TKO, 3 wins by sub, 26 years old. I remember his fight against Jingling Lee, the Leech. Showed some good wrestling. Average stand-up in that fight. Garett Whiteley, 7-2 record, 4 wins by KO TKO, 3 wins by sub. He's on a 2-fight losing streak. I actually really watched his fight against Vince Pichel. He is a finisher. What I liked from Whiteley was he has good dirty boxing. He's really good at the tie clinch, like the plum, you know, throwing knees and whatnot. I don't like that he backed himself up against the cage a lot of times. Takedown defense was a bit questionable as well, as Pichel managed to take him down a good amount of times. But I did like that Garett Whiteley managed to get back to his feet when he was taken down. So with that said, I'd like Garett Whiteley to win this one. I think that he's arguably got the better stand-up than Michaud. I think Michaud might actually have the better wrestling though. But I think even if he takes the fight to the ground, I don't know if he can hold Whiteley down. He actually couldn't hold the Leech down. So Garett Whiteley for the win there. Next fight after that, Henry Cejudo fights Dustin Kimura. Kimura, 11-2 record, 2 wins by KO TKO, 8 wins by sub, 25 years old. Solid Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu skills. That's pretty much just, I'd say Kimura's biggest strength is just Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Stand-up's just average, you know, it's not that great. I've seen him get hit clean a good amount of times actually. It's just a bit concerning. Cejudo, 6-0, undefeated record, 3 wins by KO TKO, 1 submission, 1 by strikes, 27 years old. It's his first fight in the UFC. So the thing is, he used to fight at 125, just could not make that weight. So he's now going to fight at 135. He has Olympic level wrestling and actually has some solid boxing too. His problem is motivation. It's just sometimes I hear he does a lot of motivational videos and stuff like that. And he's also had weight issues as well, of course. I don't know if there'll be as much of a problem at 135, but we'll see, you know. With that said, though, I gotta go with Henry Cejudo for the win there. Great athlete. I think he'll be able to take down Kimura. Kimura's tricky on the ground, so he's got to watch out for that. But nonetheless, Henry Cejudo for the win there. And finally, Anthony Burchak fights Ian Entwistle. Entwistle has an 8-2 record, 1 win by TKO, 6 wins by sub, 28 years old. He's got some strong Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu skills actually. He's a guy that'll pull guard and just go for leg locks. Striking's kind of weak though. And I don't know if that style is really going away now unless you're like Husamar Palhares, you know? Because he was going for this leg lock against Daniel Hooker. And Hooker just kept ground and pounding him until he got the TKO victory. So I don't know if he can do that anymore. Unless you're like marching out, or Husmar Pariaras, or maybe like Shinya Aoki, the few like, you know, leg lock specialists, you know, can do that. And even then, it's a risky proposition. Burchak, 11-1 record, 3 wins by KO TKO, 6 wins by sub, 28 years old on a 5-fight win streak. It's his first fight in the UFC. He's actually a solid wrestler. He has some pretty good stand-up as well. He's not a bad prospect. MFC champion, if I'm not mistaken. He's supposed to fight Joe Soto, actually, until Soto took the spot and fought Dillashaw. But honestly, I had Burchak beating Soto. Burchak is also more... He'll put more pressure on his opponent. I gotta go with Anthony Burchak for the win here. I mean, he's got a watch for the submissions of Entwistle, but otherwise, I think he has him beat in other areas of MMA. So, to recap, the main card of Junior Dos Santos over Stipe Miocic, Rafael Dos Anjos beating Nate Diaz, Stefan Struve beating Alistair Overeem, and Gabriel Gonzaga over Mitrione. On the prelims, I have John Moraga over Willie Gates, Claudia Gadelha beating Joanna Jedrzejczyk, Ben Saunders beating Joe Riggs, Jamie Varner over Drew Dober, Derek Brunson over Ed Herman, and Joe Ellenberger beating Bryan Barberena. On the Fight Pass prelims, I have Garett Whiteley beating David Michaud, Henry Cejudo over Destin Kimura, and Anthony Burchak over Ian Entwistle. So that's it for my predictions for UFC on Fox 13, Dos Santos vs. Miocic. If you have any comments, just leave them below. And that's it for MMA for you. Thank you guys very much.